Conducting a literature review, from searching to synthesis. Imagine you are planning a holiday and need to find a hotel. You probably would not open Google, choose the first hotel you see, and immediately book it. First, you would decide what you are actually looking for. Where do you want to stay? What is your budget? Do you need a family hotel, somewhere near the beach, or somewhere close to the city centre? You might then search Google or a hotel comparison website. At first, you may get hundreds of results, so you begin to narrow the search. You add filters. You change your search terms. You compare locations, prices, and facilities. Then you start evaluating the options. One hotel might have an excellent rating but only 6 reviews. Another might have hundreds of recent reviews. One may look perfect in the photographs but be miles away from where you actually want to be. Eventually, you create a shortlist, compare the evidence, and make a decision. Conducting a literature review is surprisingly similar. The first step is to clearly identify your topic. For example, you might begin with something broad, such as generative AI in higher education. But this is far too wide for a literature review, so you begin narrowing it. Perhaps you become interested specifically in how undergraduate students use generative AI when completing assessed work. Once you have a clearer focus, you can begin searching for research. Use academic databases rather than relying only on a general Google search. University students can access education databases through StudyNet. Go to the library, select the Education Subject Toolkit, and then choose Education Databases. You can also use resources such as Google Scholar and other appropriate academic databases. Your search terms matter. Try different keywords and use Boolean operators such as "and" to narrow your search, or to include similar terms, and not to remove unwanted results. But finding sources is only the beginning. Just as you would not choose a hotel simply because it appeared first in the search results, you should not use every article that mentions your topic. Start by reading titles and abstracts. Ask, is this actually relevant to my question? How recent is it? Who conducted the research? Where was it published? What type of study was it? Prioritize good quality sources such as peer-reviewed journal articles, academic books, and authoritative research reports. You may find it useful to create a simple mind map as you read. Put your topic in the center and begin adding branches for key ideas, organizations, facts, influences, groups affected, and issues appearing repeatedly in the research. As you read more, patterns should begin to emerge. These patterns can become the themes of your literature review. Perhaps several studies discuss student attitudes towards AI. Another group focuses on academic integrity. Others examine how AI affects learning. Instead of writing, Smith found this, Jones found this, Ahmed found this, bring those studies together. Ask, where do researchers agree? Where do they disagree? How strong is the evidence? Were the studies conducted with different groups or in different settings? Could differences in methods explain different findings? What is missing? This is the difference between summarizing and synthesizing research. For this assignment, your literature review should usually contain 2 to 4 themes. Your introduction should explain the topic, why it matters, and what the review will examine. The main section should compare, evaluate, and synthesize the literature around those themes. Then your conclusion should ask, what do we now know, and what do we still not know? That final question is important because your literature review should lead towards a research gap. A gap does not necessarily mean that nobody has ever researched the topic. It might be a group that has received less attention, a different educational setting, conflicting findings, a new development, or an unanswered question. That gap should then help you develop your own research question. So, conducting a literature review is not simply about collecting lots of articles. It is a process of searching, filtering, comparing, evaluating, organising, and questioning evidence. And just like choosing the right hotel, the aim is not to collect every possible option. It is to identify the most relevant and trustworthy evidence and use it to make a well-informed decision about where your research should go next.